Here we are at the 1st of August doing fall DIYs. Fall is quickly approaching, my friends. We ain't playing. Welcome back to the channel if you're returning, and if you are new, welcome to you as well. This is Christine and I am going to do some fall inspiration for you today. So without further ado, let's get crafting. So this is a board. I picked up a few of these from Target Dollar Spot a few weeks ago when I went there. We'll be using this Dollar Tree calendar sheet and some bamboo wood strip. So here I'm just marking the bamboo and measuring it on the board that I'm going to be using and just indicating where I needed to cut. I took my miter shear and just cut those down. Ay. I've been so busy, my friends, so busy. But I'm just trying to take a break right now. So here I am just placing those on a piece of painter's tape, just so they don't move around while I paint. And I'm mixing these two paints, Martha Stewart paints that you saw me show you earlier. And I'm just gonna mix it. I'm trying to get the color on the calendar sheet. I'm not exactly going to get the same shade, but I am just trying to come as close as possible. So here I am just mixing different shades of the Martha Stewart metallic paint. Metallic paint, that's what it is. So I mixed and mixed until I got the ideal, or what I thought was ideal, blend. And then I painted my wood strips. I am only going to be doing the top and the bottom. I left those to dry and now I'm going to be working on the board. So I'm just using a little Mod Podge. Oh no, that's not Mod Podge. I am using a little of the Folk Art Adirondack chalk paint to just dust the print on the board. I didn't want it to be too full coverage. Just wanted to cover it a little bit. Once that dried, I now use some Mod Podge because I'm going to be adding the calendar sheet. So I'm using the Mod Podge. You can use adhesive, your school glue if you want to. I am using the Mod Podge here. Then I just dried that, place the calendar sheet over the area, use my, what is this called again? To just force out any air that may be underneath that. And then once I did that, I had to paint over the strips. I did not like how they looked, so I took some Waverly Moss chalk paint and painted those off camera. So now I'm just using the sanding block to sand off the excess in a downward motion. Once that was done, I am now going to just paint the edge of the board with the leftover paint. And then I'm making a little tiny bow, just wrap that around my fingers 2 times and tied that. And then once I had that done, I dovetailed the ends. Glued that in the middle. And then took a burlap bow and glued that on top. And I had to use some clamps to hold the strips in place while they dry properly. Did I show you that? Did I show you when I glued them on with the glue? I don't remember, guys. It's like all my days are just running together. But here I am using a little antique wax and my finger dabber to just distress the edges of my board. And this one is done. You'll see more of that in the final reveal. This playlist is Hello Fall, hosted by Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY, Christoph from Krista's Crafty Life, and every month they have a different theme, and this month it is fall. Links to their channels will be in the description box below, as well as the playlist. Now here we are for our second DIY. This board, I got this from Walmart. I had this in my, not Walmart, Dollar Tree. Sorry guys, Dollar Tree. I had this in my stash I decided that I was going to just lift off the paper, but that wasn't working. So I soaked that off, left it aside to soak properly. And then once that was done, I cut it in two. And now here I am I also painted it. I did all of this off camera. So here I am now going to use this beautiful fall napkin that I have in my stash. I already cut this piece out because some things you can do off camera, and I did that. And now here I am using Plaid's multi-surface Mod Podge, and I'm just going to use that. So I used a small brush, applied some of that on the surface and spread it until it became very tacky. And I'm working in sections because you don't want your Mod Podge to dry too quickly if you start putting it all on, as well as you don't want the napkin to get caught in the areas that you weren't ready to put it down just yet. So I worked in sections, placed my napkin down, and then I also went ahead and cut out another little piece of the napkin, and I'm going to put that at the top. But before I did that, I took the parchment paper and my mini heat press and just reactivated that Mod Podge to seal the napkin. I will leave a video right at the top here, so if you have not yet seen how the napkin decoupage process works, I will leave that here just in case this is the first time you're seeing that process. And then I took the other little piece and just Mod Podged the area for that, and then place that down, use the brush to just smooth that out. I love this rustic looking napkin, this fall napkin. And here I'm just using the heat press now to press that in and to give it a nice little finishing touch. And of course, I took the rest of the Mod Podge and just went over the napkin to seal it. You always want to make sure that you add another coat of Mod Podge on top of your napkin and dry that with your heat press or your heat gun. Now I'm just measuring the distance between the two sides where I'm going to be putting the hanger, and then I use my handy dandy Hardell mini drill here to open the holes. I love this tool so much. It has been so helpful. Once I got that open, I now took some hold on a second, Christine. Don't run ahead of the video. So I got this little alphabet sticker pack from Walmart. This came from Walmart. And I'm just selecting the letters FALL. One L was a little different from the other, but that's okay. We don't always want things to be exact, right? So I just used a little Mod Podge to tone down the shield because these are gold stickers and I didn't want them looking too bright. So I peel them off, place them down, and it spells fall. Now here I am replacing or placing my hanger. Took some little beads, finished beads, and just strung the string from back to forward or back to front and tied the knots or tied the ends. And here we have our hanger. I took one of the bead, cut it in two, and placed those over the knots. Now I'm going to just distress the edges of the board a little bit. So I took my finger dabber again with some antique wax and just went around the edge of the board. Now a little piece at the top of the napkin was kind of jagged, so I just cut a strip from what was left over and added that. I also took the gold marker from Dollar Tree and just kind of give me a little border around the napkin. It already had a little border, but I wanted to just brighten it and accentuate it a little bit. I then took this little raffia bow that came off of something else and just glued it right at the top there. And I thought this was done, but then when I looked at it, it looked too flat. So I said, no, this needed some dimension. I took my bamboo strips again, measured them, cut them down, placed them on the painter's tape, and took my apple barrel True Burgundy just to make sure that I was getting the same color of the napkin. And then took a little bit more of the Martha Stewart metallic gold paint and just went kind of brushed that over it to accentuate or to let the colors blend it in together. Now here I am gluing on the strip. I'm using some wood glue as well as a little dab of hot glue to glue that on. My friends, if this is your first time, where have you been all this time? I've been waiting for you. But thank you so much for stopping by. I truly appreciate you. And this is what it looks like, my friends. I really love how that little raffia bow on the top there just fit in perfectly. Next are some reversibles. I just took what I had, reversed them or turned them around and did my projects on the reverse side. So these are going to be very simple. I got these from Dollar General last year, and I'm only going to be working on the back. So for this one mini cutting board, I removed the little bow from the neck, painted this with 2 coats of Folk Art Adirondack, and these silk stencils I got from Amazon, and I'm going to be using some paste. I also got these from Amazon. I will link them down below. Now I fuzzed my stencil, and this one says Happy Turkey Day, perfect side to blending with the reverse side. Now my green paint, for some or whatever reason, was a little hardened, so here I'm just adding a little water to it. I mixed it up a little bit and just set that aside to just come back to some form of consistency. Now I'm going to start with the black paint, the black paste. So I took my squeegee and I'm just doing the top part. I don't want the little turkey head to get any of my black paint because I'm going to use a different paste on that. Now once that section was done, I'm lifting this stencil, and I'm not lifting it off all the way. I'm going to put it back down and just press down the next areas that needed to be stenciled. So I'm going to stencil in the turkey's head with the orange paste. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm using the green paste. Still mixing it so it come back to some form of consistency. And then I'm stenciling some little leaves that were on the sides. Then once I got those in, lift it again, not all the way off, dried it a little bit because I'm going to be putting that back down. And then now I took the orange and did the turkey's head. And that's what you have to do if you're doing a stencil with multiple colors or sections that you want to have in multiple colors. Make sure that you are carefully adding the paste to only the section that you want to have that on. Lift it a little bit and then put it back down. And this is what it looks like when I was all done. Took the heat gun and just made sure that was dried properly. And then I took the finger dabber, went around the edge of the board to distress it. And I thought it looked a little bit too white. So I took a dried chippy brush and some antique wax and just stroke the surface of the wood just to make it look rustic and aged a little bit. And then I just took the string that was around the neck and replaced that, making sure that it was hanging to the side originally where it was. And then I just added a dab of hot glue to hold it down in place. And now here I'm working on the other side, or the original side. This is a furniture marker that I'm just going around the edge with. And then I took my orange paint pen and just painted in the section that says gobble. And then I flipped it back over, made a tiny little buffalo check bow and glued that down there. And this one is done, my friend. Love it. Quick and easy. If you are enjoying the content, my friends, now would be a perfect time to give it a big thumbs up by hitting that like button. You'll see more of that in the final reveal. Now we're moving on to the next one. Same thing I did, just painted the side that had nothing on there. Here I am just testing it out to see how I needed to put it down, because this little leaf can stand on its own. So I was just making sure that where I placed the stencil, it was in the right position. The process is simply the same like before, so I won't bore you too much by telling you exactly what you already saw. But here, I will just use this opportunity to tell you that I now have a book, a devotional book that came out today on Amazon. So if you are interested, I will link that down below. You can check that out. It is perfect to use personally as a devotional, or if you're doing a Bible study, you can use that. It also has prompts and prayer points in there. So guys, check this out. I'm so happy about this devotional, but that's just me. Check it out for yourself, and please leave me a review when you do so. Then a little part of the pumpkin got messed up, so here I'm just using a tiny brush with a little white paint to just fix that. And this is so easy, my friends. You'll see the other one is simply the same. So if you are here for the first time, like I said, my friends, welcome. If you're coming over from any of the other channels, thank you so much for coming by. If you are new here and enjoying the content, I would love if you would give it a big thumbs up, because that signals to YouTube that you enjoy the content, and they will help to promote it to more viewers like yourself. All right, so for this one, I just made a tiny little jute bow and glued that there, and that one was done. Now, my friends, I will have a free printable for you listed in the description box below. What it is a free DIY project planner. If you're like me, I like to plan out my craft and sketch out my ideas, so that will help you to do that. It will also help you to keep track of what you're spending on each project. So that is listed, that link will be listed in my description box below for you, so if you are interested. Now, in finishing up this last one, I took my orange paint pen and I just went around the edge of this one, made a small gingham bow, glue that at the stem of our leaf, and this is done, my friends. Scripture for today, Proverbs 27:15 and 16. A quarrelsome wife is like the dripping of a leaky roof in a rainstorm. Restraining her is like restraining the wind or grasping oil in the hand. Love it. Now, ladies, I hope none of you out there are quarrelsome. Now, here we are for our final reveal. These are the fall inspiration DIYs that I have here for you today. Please be sure to let me know which one was your favorite, and enjoy the final reveal right down to the very end. Don't forget to check out the host channels down in my description box below, as well as the playlist. Make sure to check those out, as well as the link for the free printable in my description box. Be sure to check that out as well. And there you have it, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. I enjoyed crafting with you today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more creative projects like these. And tap that notification bell as well, so you never miss an upload. Need more inspiration? Click right here for other fun DIYs. Happy crafting, stay safe, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!